Tetragrammaton.
Sometimes I just, to get an idea down, I just, put on your voice notes and record from my iPhone. And so I started just putting the iPhone on the piano when I wake up just to record whatever I'm doing. And as a fun thing, I would send these kind of little shorts. Sometimes they like a minute, sometimes they 2-3 minutes. I would send them to my son. I would send them to his mom, Erica. I would send them to my stepdad, to my mom, to even musician friends. I might send it to Q-Tip. I might send it to Tyler. So when they look back in their phone history, if they still have some of those texts from back then, they're gonna find these piano pieces that are on the album. They were just personal at-home recordings, and then when I listened back to them, I just thought there's something special about them. And I thought maybe I should share them in a way. Even though it is iPhone quality, we mastered it, put it to vinyl. So it's kind of like almost like a novelty project.
Do you think of it as a musical diary?
Well, more like a photo book, like from this time, this is a snap, yeah.
Can you play me something from it?
Sure. So this song is called Blueberry Mountains. This is one of the songs, there are 2 songs on this album that are not improv. This is one of them, but it's improv in how I performed it because I never performed it like this. And this song is one of the first songs that I ever tried to compose on piano, ever. This was recorded on a very bright piano, and I don't like bright pianos for some reason. So I was like, well, what can I do with these bright pianos? So I was trying to find a way to just lean into the brightness. And so I told the engineer, you know how like trap rappers like Future, they'll put like auto-tune on their vocals, and it gives it some type of like digital coating on the voice. And so I was like, after I play this, can we put auto-tune on the piano?
Cool.
But it wasn't like changing my notes or anything. It just put this almost like this digital water.
Yeah.
So you'll hear it almost like makes an acoustic piano sound kind of fake.
Cool.
Blueberry Mountains.
So when it had words, what were the words?
Blueberry Mountain, Strawberry Fields was kind of like a Beatles reference. Blueberry Mountain, Strawberry Fields, banana peels for heels. That was the chorus. Blueberry Mountain, Strawberry Fields, banana peels for heels. I have no idea what I was talking about at the time.
Was there verses too?
Yes, it was kind of like a chant in between those choruses. And it was saying, While you up on the hill in your big homes, I'm out here risking my dome. Blueberry mountain, strawberry fields, banana peels for hill. While you up on the hill in your big homes, I'm down here risking my dome. Blueberry mountains. That's all I can remember from it.
Cool. It's beautiful.
Thank you, man.
In a time when everything is quantized and auto-tuned and perfected, hearing something that sounds human, even if it's got a synthetic edge to it, is interesting. It feels like a moment in time.
Yes, to me, that's really when you think of New Blue Sun and kind of what this is now. Like, I know a lot of people criticize it for being a certain thing, but what I'm looking for right now is moments, like special moments, not perfect. And I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for quote unquote hits or anything. I mean, I love a hit. I love perfection too, but what's interesting to me are things that are actually interesting.
Yeah.
And so we mastered this. I was sitting with Bernie Grumman, and he was listening to it. And he was like, oh man, this is refreshing. You know, he said, I master a lot of things. And he's like, a lot of times it comes in as a bar. Everyone just wants loud, 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 loud. And I understand, he was saying, I understand why they want it loud, because, you know, they want to compete in the club or wherever. But once you get the attention from being loud, you have to hold that attention, like, and it becomes uninteresting after a while. And when we were mastering these pieces, he was like, there's something, he said, I love that there's dynamic in it. Like, they're jumping out, then gets quiet. You know, it's kind of like, he described it as being like classical in a way, in some ways, where things jump out and then they get really quiet. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the specialness. I almost call them like novelty records. Like, what I'm doing now is making records that if I'm a collect, I always look at it from the outside. Like, if I'm not me, I would want to collect this album. I would want to collect New Blue Sun.
Because it's not like other albums.
Yes, yes.
This is the one
that.
And
years from now, I would want this. Like, I would like, whoa, Andre did this.
Yeah.
You know, Andre did this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, for me, it's the novelty specialness of it. I think it has a lot to do with age too, because at this age, I'm trying to make things that I feel of beauty or a specialness. You know what I mean? That means a lot. You know, in my eyes. Of course, I mean, pop music can mean a lot for sure. I'm not saying that, but for me, and what I've done and what I've been through, this is most interesting for me.
Yeah.
The last time we spoke, this was way before the New Blue Sun album, before we even recorded that album. It's almost like that was a different person almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Same person, but, you know,
I understand.
was just in a whole nother different headspace. But yeah, a lot has happened since then, man. Exploring, making music as always, you know.
Tell me about the hunt for flutes around the world, what you've found.
Yeah, so, I mean, flutes is kind of like anything else. I mean, you collect music instruments as well. It's like, once you find like you're in the thing that kind of attracts you first, you kind of want to know more about that instrument or things like it, you know. So, you know, once I started playing like indigenous flutes, that got me into a whole nother play on all kinds of flutes from different cultures, from, you know, Bansuri, Indian flutes to, you know, Japanese flutes to Korean flutes, African flutes, just anything that had like holes in it, you know, that I could manipulate. I just wanted to hear it. And so I kind of like went on just a binge of like finding and collecting and seeing which ones I responded to. And when we went on tour, I would kind of, like, at this point I got, I don't know, like 75, 80 flutes. And I haven't really counted them all, but when it's time to go on tour, you can't take all of them. So you have to kind of decide which ones are going to be your favorites at that moment. And it really depends on the vibe you're in. Sometimes certain flutes are speaking to you at a certain time, and you kind of in this zone for a minute, you know, and then you may move to another zone. But yeah, man, I've kind of, just collecting buying flutes. And everywhere, like every city we went to, we kind of made it a thing to kind of hunt. So we went to like vintage shops.
Great.
A lot of different flea markets and like, you know, used instrument places. So we would pick up all kinds of instruments, and in true form, like we may play them like that night, like being amateurs at them, you know, just to see what we get from first responses, like
Yeah.
first, your kid, like playing with it, before you study it or get better in a certain way. Because you'll never get that time back again,
Mm-hmm. It's
I,
purely instinctual at that
yes.
time. You
Yep.
don't know how it works yet.
But you do a thing that I value a lot, and I call it a gear that people overlook. Like it's the amateur gear. Like, and
Yeah.
I think people overlook it to get to, experienced and well trained, which is awesome. But you'll never be able to get the first responses back. So I cherish those, man. Like, yeah, even on the album New Blue Sun, the beginning track, it's an instrument. I'm playing this electronic wind instrument, and I actually took it out of the box like maybe 20 minutes before we started recording. So what you hear is me figuring out the latency, figuring out what I can get out of it. It was a stock oboe sound, and I was like, whoa, I like this sound. And started playing the melody, and that's what came. And so that's
What's an electronic wind instrument?
It's like a flute, but it's
Do you blow into it
yeah,
or no?
you blow into it. It's your embouchure, like the pressure of your lips, the pressure of the wind. It's all calculated and then sent through, whatever computer, and it's very responsive. It's awesome. Like it opened a whole new door, because when we went to record at that session, I had all my, wooden flutes. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, okay, we're doing this wooden flute kind of situation. And I just took this, and that completely just opened a whole nother door that I can, like, you can hook it up to anything and play anything. Like,
So would it
it's
be
almost like
like
a MIDI instrument
That's what I
too.
was going to say. Like a piano is an acoustic physical instrument,
Yeah,
but you can play a keyboard that you play like a piano, but it can trigger sounds, any kind of sound.
same way. Same way.
see.
That's exactly what it is. But
But you blow
it's
into it.
wind
So
controlled.
yeah.
Yeah. So the pressure of your wind, even like on a true like woodwind instrument, like your embouchure, like if you bite down on the reed, it'll sometimes bend the note, and you can go into the app and fix how much pressure you want, like how responsive it is, how much kind of wind fight back you want. Like, so that opened up a whole new door on the album. And it's just, even since then, like touring, it opened up a whole new sound palette that I could just play anything.
So is the thing that makes a flute is that it's a tube with holes in it?
Yeah.
Because like a saxophone is a tube with holes, but it has more to it. It's got more mechanics.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
clarinet has more mechanics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say, you're probably right. The basis of a flute is some cylinder with holes in it, that they're evenly spaced out to get, and sometimes not even evenly spaced out. Like back in the day when they first started making flutes, they didn't have measuring equipment in that way. So they were just kind of going on what they heard over time, the distance between the holes, and even the width of the hole makes, sharp, flat kind of.
And how different, when you pick up a different flute, how different are they from each other?
Oh, yeah, they're like people. Like, even if you have the same flute maker, same key, same length of wood, it's gonna sound different. Especially when you're dealing with like handmade instruments in wood. Like, there's just so much, like the wood is a real responsive thing. And even the same flute made of two different woods, same key will sound different. So I'm sure like guitar players can tell you the same thing. Like you can get 5 different Fender Strats and they all gonna sound different, even if it's made in the same factory. Yeah, it's just kind of, it's inherent. But
You think
that's the magic of it, though.
the difference in the way it sounds will inspire you to play it differently?
Yes. Yep. My very first flute that I got from Guillermo, it's in the key of E. And over time, I play it, and I didn't know that that you're supposed to clean it out after you play every time. So for years, I've just never cleaned it. So it would hold, I'm being too graphic, but all the moisture from my mouth, it would almost create a coating in the cylinder of the flute.
Yeah.
And to me, it gave it a certain character.
Yeah.
Because once I went back to get it cleaned out, it was a completely different flute. And it was a sad day for me too, because it had gained like a soul, you
Yeah.
know. And it really sounded like a mature woman that, you know, had lived. And then after I got it cleaned out, yeah, it just sounded like a new young person. And I was unfamiliar with this thing. And it was like, ugh,
So
something's
since then,
different.
have you not cleaned it?
No, I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. Or I just expect that it's going to be this way and I clean it. But I like it to have something built in, even if it's tuned out a little bit. I like it. I don't know. It just sometimes it adds, it's an actual coating because you're coating the cylinder with, you know, yeah, human stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's your stuff too. It's
Yep.
like, it's personal.
Yep. 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 Yep.
It certainly personalizes it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me the story of getting the first flute. How'd that happen? Were you looking for a flute?
Actually, let me even go back because we were just sitting here talking about California. When I moved out here, I knew nothing about Venice. I knew nothing about like the West Side. And so this real estate agent, we had been looking like for almost like a week for a place. And I was only supposed to be here for like 6 months, kind of like just regrouping. And I was looking for a rental spot in, you know, LA proper, like inside the city.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at a few places and none of them really spoke to me in a way. And on a whim, you know, the agent said, well, I got this one little spot, this little bitty house in Venice. And so I was like, all right. I told my friends, you know, I might be checking out Venice. And they were like, no, like don't move to Venice because if you move to the West Side, we'll never see you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of true because once you're over here, you don't need to go back.
Yeah.
On the other side, everything is here.
Yeah. And it's so much nicer on the West Side.
Yeah, it's actually cooler.
Yeah,
it's
better
cooler on the
air.
West Side.
Yeah.
Like the beach air makes it cool. Like in the summertime, when it's hot, like it can be 100 degrees inside the city. It'll be like 85
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And so I liked it in that way. And when I got to Venice, man, it's kind of like, I do believe like sometimes we are put in places to meet who we need to meet and the
Yeah.
people we need to meet at a certain
For sure.
time. And I happened to just be going, I met this girl at this breathwork class. And
Tell me about the breathwork class. What type was it?
yeah, it was kind of, you're doing this holotropic breathing kind of where for an hour, you're doing this intense kind of rhythmic breathing where you kind of get in a trance in a way. And this young lady invited me to the class. And so I went to the class. And then after the class, because you're laying on the mat while you're laying on your back on the mat while you're doing it. And after the class, while the class is sitting there, some people started setting up instruments. And so the teacher's like, hey, if you want to stay, you know, we have, you know, these performers. So Farmer Dave and Cassia were playing. They were just setting up. And I didn't know who they were. I didn't know Cassia from a can of paint. And they were setting up guitars and flute, you know, native flute. And Cassia starts playing this wooden flute. And I'm laying on my back and I'm like, man, what is this? You know, man, I've never heard this sound in my life. Like, whoa, what is this sound? And I had to go up to her after the class and I was like, what's that? You know, what are you playing? And she said, yeah, it's this indigenous flute. She said, it's guy Guillermo Martinez. He made it for me. And I said, can you know, pass me Guillermo's info? And she gave me Guillermo's number and I reached out to him, told him I wanted a flute. I went on his site, just picked the key. I didn't know, you know, just picked the key and put in an order. And yeah, he made my first flute. And from the first day I got it, I went to pick the flute up and I had to drive out to Modesto Canyon. Well, yeah, it's about an hour outside of LA. And so this is where his workshop is, where he makes the flutes. And I go to pick it up and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm just going to, you know, pay for this flute and be on my way, you know. And so I grabbed the flute and, you know, we do all what we need to do. And he says, okay, so let me just take you outside real quick. And he takes me out in front of the barn and then he lights up a smudge stick and he turns me in one direction. He smudges me. He turns me in another direction. He smudges me. He smudges the flute. And so I'm like, whoa, okay. You know, this is a thing. And then he told me the history of flute playing, Native American flute playing. Yeah, he took me through there. And after then, I took it home. And from the first day I got it, I just never stopped playing it. I would walk and play. Like I love to walk. So I would walk like 5-6 miles and back home playing. And it just became an everyday thing. And I would find little patterns I loved. I would find, you know, made up melodies. I didn't take I don't know if it's even a lesson I mean, I'm sure someone can teach you now. You can probably find it on TikTok or something, but like I didn't take any lessons. I just picked it up. And the learning curve on these flutes are not that hard at all. It's basically, it's kind of like a recorder in a way, because you're blowing through a hole and you're manipulating the notes by however many fingers you have up or down. And you can bend the notes. You learn these kind of things after playing with it for a while. You can half a note. You can slide it into a note. And all these things just became, just interesting to me because I was always into like jazz music, classical music, and some of the best parts of some of my best composers were when they started playing the piccolo or flute parts, you know, or oboe parts.
Yeah.
So I was always into wind instruments or woodwind instruments. Even before I got into the flute, I was playing bass clarinet. And then I got an oboe later on, which is the hardest instrument to play in the world. So yeah, once I started it, I ain't never put it down.
How was developing the wind to play? Do you run out of breath?
Yes, you do. You do run out of breath, but I think because I walk a lot, I would play while I'm walking. So it almost kind of trained me to be out of breath in a way. So my wind was up. And I think because I'm a rapper, my wind was up to start with, you know.
Do you still think of yourself as a rapper?
I don't really. That's what's crazy.
Because you just said that. And it's like,
I
really?
know, but it's
You're
kind
a
of like,
rapper?
yeah, I know. It's weird, man. Like, I wish I was more of a rapper right now.
It's another life.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's funny, like, when you ask me that, because, like, I have thoughts all the time. And sometimes rap start as just thoughts. And so I always write them down, and I always rhyme things. I still rhyme, you know, but it's not like an everyday practice. I don't know. I don't have a connection with it like I used to.
Yeah.
You know, but I would like to. And I keep trying because there's a challenge that I'm trying to do with myself. Like, I want to see, well, what can I make that sounds authentic for me right now, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm influenced by everything. So I listen to, you know, new kids, old kids, like, so I always try to figure out what can I do now, you know, at this age. I'll be 50 in May. And it's even weird for me to even say like 50. Like, I do not feel 50 at all.
No.
You know, but when I look in the mirror and I see all this silver hair, I'm like, yeah, nigga, you 50. You 50. If I never knew my age, I probably would think I'm like 38 in heart and in spirit, like 38, 40 maybe, which ain't that far from 50, but
it's different though.
It is totally different.
Psychologically different.
Yeah. It take you a little minute to get up. like I have to adjust my back, you know, when I get up, which aging, I always say, is like hilarious to me. Aging is hilarious and cruel at the exact same time.
Yeah.
It's hilarious because all the things that you used to be able to do, it's harder to do those things.
The regular things.
Yes, the regular things.
Yeah.
And it's cruel because you know that mortality is happening. Like, you know what's happening. You know, it's not like a mystery of what's happening. I wouldn't want to go back to being a younger age, though, which is weird.
Yeah.
Another kind of weird thing. Like, someone could say, yeah, you can go back to being 25. I would not.
No.
Nope.
So much of today's life happens on the web. Squarespace is your home base for building your dream presence in an online world. Designing a website is easy, using one of Squarespace's best-in-class templates. With the built-in style kit, you can change fonts, imagery, margins, and menus, so your design will be perfectly tailored to your needs. Discover unbreakable creativity with Fluid Engine, a highly intuitive drag-and-drop editor. No coding or technical experience is required. Understand your site's performance with in-depth website analytics tools. Squarespace has everything you need to succeed online. Create a blog, monetize a newsletter, make a marketing portfolio, launch an online store. The Squarespace app helps you run your business from anywhere. Track inventory and connect with customers while you're on the go. Whether you're just starting out or already managing a successful brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create and customize a beautiful website. Visit squarespace.com/Tetra and get started today.
I don't think I ever asked you about your parents. Tell me about your parents.
Yeah, they passed away young, both with heart trouble. My mom had a heart attack in her sleep. My father, he had a valve in his heart that just stopped working. So both of them, they kind of checked out young.
How was your relationship with them?
Me and my mom, we were like tight.
Hmm.
I grew up with my mom. My mom and dad were never married, so I would see my dad a lot, but you know, it's a different thing when you're not in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my dad were really cool. He was like one of the just the coolest, kindest people that I know. But we weren't that close, you know. Yeah, we just weren't.
Did you feel a connection though?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think around like 14, my mom sent me to live with my dad. And so of course that was a lot better. So I got to be around him more. But then, I mean, we started making music at 17. So that's like 3-4 years and I'm out.
Yeah.
So, you know, we traveling around the world like at that point. So I only had a little time with my dad.
What was your mom's musical taste like, and what was your dad's musical taste like?
Mom was a like top 40 kind of girl. So, you know, she was singing like Supremes,
Mm-hmm.
Diana Ross songs, Regina Belle, Anita Baker. Like she was R&B kind of kid, you know,
Mm-hmm.
good taste.
Mm-hmm. Listen to the radio, or would she play records or cassettes?
Listen to the radio. She had some records around.
More radio,
but mostly radio.
Yeah.
And our time we spent was in the car a lot. So we listened to her a lot in the car. My dad was on the funk side. So my dad played a lot of hardcore funk, you know, Gap Band, Parliament Funkadelic, but even like further back, like he was Temptations 4 Tops type of person.
Did they both love music?
Yes, but my mom was more on the gospel side too, because my mom was like, we went to church a lot. And so my
Every
mom,
week? You went every
week, like 3 times a week, like Bible study.
Wow. Would you ever sing in church?
Yeah, I was in the choir.
Yeah.
Vacation Bible school, Bible study, all that kind of stuff. So my mama kept me in the church. So a lot of the music we would listen to was like very old style gospel music. And I really loved like Reverend CJ Johnson kind of stuff, where it was just people clapping and feet stomping and moaning and singing kind of gospel. But I did like some contemporary gospel of that time, like the Clark sisters were big for me.
They're amazing.
Yeah, man. See, my grandfather was a preacher too, and so he had a little church. And most Southern people that went to little churches, they'll know it's a certain kind of church when they pull out an old chair and sit it in the middle of the pew, and people get down and testify or they pray on that old chair. And it's a certain kind of church. And my grandfather had one of those churches. He was one of the preachers that like grab his ear and he was one of those people.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was kind of mesmerizing to watch him do it. So I'm from that, you know, I like the foot stomping, Holy Ghost kind of, you know, church.
Can you play me an example of CJ Johnson?
Yeah.
I don't know this.
Yeah, man. I love this kind of music.
Me too.
So I recorded this from my mom's cassette, actually. So I'm not actually sure if this is CJ Johnson, but this is the type.
Okay.
Because I don't have the artist name. It may be Reverend CJ Johnson, but you'll get the feel. Yeah. And this song is called "You Better Run to the City."
Oh, you better run, better run, better. You better run, better run, better run. Hey, you better run to the city already. Yeah. You better run. Well, not from the mountains on the mountain top, and he placed along the bold heart, and then they stand the commandments and bold mind. They said the moon is going to leave. could understand how could a man be born when he was so old, but you better run. You better run, better run, better run. Oh. You better run to the city of rest. Yeah. You better run. Well, God buried Moses in an unknown grave, and the giants winged, he taken this place, and the giants winged, but they're fighting a battle. He prayed unto the Lord to stop the sun and stop the sun. Down the wall, and then Joshua was at the foot of the hill. He said to fight till you're back, till if you just stand still, and you better run. You better run, better run, better run. Yeah, you better. Yeah, yeah. Well, you read about Samson from his birth. He's the strongest man that ever lived on earth. One day your Samson was walking along, oh well, Samson's strength was never found out to be lying. You came and sat on the knees, and please tell me where your strength might be. He told him the strength in the half. You just shave my head just as I clean as my hand. My strength will become as a natural man, but you better run. You better run, better run, better run. Yeah, you better. Yeah. Come on, let me hear you. They call this the Holy Ghost Day. Come on. Well, Adam was the first man, that ain't all. Oh, well, Adam was the first man that broke up the law. Well, Adam was a member of the human race. He disobeyed God and he drove him from his place. You read on down to about the chapter 9, where my King Jesus turned water to wine. But you better run. You better run, better run, better run. Yeah, you better run to the city of rest. Oh, you better
run. That's unbelievable.
Oh man, like that clapping,
Crazy.
that beat,
Crazy.
man. Oh my
And
God.
there's no artifice. There's no performance.
Well, you can tell, like, he almost freestyling.
Yeah.
You can tell he kind of he almost like spewing what he knows of the Bible, like out as like rap verses almost. And you can tell, like, there's no even like, he ain't count his bars, like sometimes they have, and like, you can tell he just is free, you know. It's awesome, man. Like,
I love
to me,
it.
that's that clapping
That's
though,
pure.
very.
That's pure.
Yeah.
So two things come to mind when I hear that, and what you've been saying is that, one, from a young age, you got to experience a music that isn't showbiz. That's not showbiz what we were hearing. That was a deep connection to something.
Yeah. I think when my mom like kept me in the church in that way around, so I got that spirit look inside, or what it looks like, or how it affected people.
Yeah.
I got to see what that looked like, but at the same time, my mom was the first person that took me to a Fresh Fest concert.
Yeah.
So I saw LL, I saw Public Enemy, I saw Houdini all on the same ticket. That was my first like rap concert. And I was like blown away seeing the radio, seeing S1Ws do this, you know, this kind of military kind of thing.
Performance, yeah.
Houdini, they were like funky. They had these leather shorts and leather hats on. I was like, man, they are killing it.
Yeah.
So I saw both sides of it.
Yeah.
And then, we were in the time of Michael Jackson and Prince, and New Edition and all that kind of stuff, and Guy and Isley Brothers and all that kind of stuff. So I got both sides, and MTV was huge. So I saw the entertainment, you know, pure entertainment part too.
Also, the fact that first time you hear the flute is after doing holotropic breathing, And holotropic breathing is sort of a psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
Like, it will leave you in an altered state.
Yes.
So you're in this altered state and you hear this sound. If you had not done the breathing, maybe the flute wouldn't have spoke to you in the same way.
Maybe, because you kind of stay there to rest up or just kind of chill out for a minute. I could have got up and left.
Yeah.
And just missed the whole thing.
Yeah. But it feels related. They feel related.
I know it's related. I mean, even me, that one little house in Venice, like all of it is related, you know. And it's funny because I had a trip planned to go to Hawaii, actually, to sit and do ayahuasca. And I got my flute done. My flute came right in time before that trip. So I took my flute on the trip as well. And I think all of that plays into me getting to that place.
Was that the first time you took ayahuasca?
Yeah, very first time.
And tell me about that experience.
Best way I can describe it is just a connecting place where, I mean, you've always heard that, yeah, we're all connected and I'm connected to this, I'm connected to you, but that was the first time like you feel it and you know that you're part of just a big kind of energy orchestra more than anything. And, you know, we all have our own body instruments that look different, but we're kind of all of a one thing.
And you could see it from...
not visually, but I could feel it. I didn't get many visuals from it.
Would you say you could feel it in a way that you didn't question it? Like it was clear?
Yeah, totally. And it just totally makes sense when you think about it. And an extreme love and acceptance of people that you may have thought were like horrible, you know, and it's kind of like, it quickly made you realize that, they were really trying to do the best. They made bad choices.
Yeah, but they were doing their best.
Yeah, they were doing the best at what they could at that time. So you don't hold it too strong and you kind of like, you know, and that was the first time that I've ever like felt it in that way. Even there's a song on the album called That Night in Hawaii, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But that was actually a real occurrence. There was a point where I started doing this thing called toning. And I didn't understand, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But it's kind of like your body is an instrument at that point, and you're basically, it sounds, I know it's gonna sound kooky, but your body's an instrument and you're kind of getting played. And so I know I was not making these notes because I was not in my mind frame to even think of notes. I was kind of doing this, and then it would like kind of alternate. It would go like it was playing me like some type of instrument. And
you were not trying to change the notes.
No, and I had more breath because I'm in my mind as it's happening, I'm listening. And it's funny, like the human part of me is like, damn, I wish I had my phone.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first thing I thought. I wanted to record it.
Of course.
But I'm listening to myself make these noises. And at a certain point, I'm like, whoa, I'm still going. Like, I don't have that much breath.
Yeah.
And then I'll go, and do it again. And it's not me.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. And I asked the shaman about it. It's like, yeah, this is a thing called toning. It's for something inside you or someone close to you. It's basically like vibrating to move a thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like almost like almost like a shock wave kind of therapy in a way, but you're the shock wave. You're the energy center that's making it go. And it was a trip, man. And it felt like a panther. And that's the song on the album. I was trying to find a way to mimic it, you know.
So you started telling the story about the house in Venice. Did you end up moving to the house in Venice?
Yes, I ended up moving to the house in Venice. I was only supposed to be there for like 6 months. And then I kept renewing another 6 months, another 6 months.
Just because life was good there? You felt at home, would you say?
It felt where I needed to be. It was a very small house.
Yeah.
Actually, in the film, I recently released a film called Moving Day, and I actually documented that time. But it just felt nice to be in this small house. I like smaller places. Even in Atlanta, I had like a huge, like 5-bedroom house. And I would stay in this one little room. You know, it was kind of like almost like, and it had posters all over the wall. It was kind of like, I just like smaller places. And it felt great for me to be there. And I ended up meeting Carlos Nino at Erewhon. And when I met Carlos, it's funny, I was actually talking to Mike D. We were in line, checking out, talking to Mike D, and Carlos comes up and he invites us to this event that he's doing that night. And he said, Carlos was like, yeah, man, people were telling me that you were around town playing your flute and that we should meet, you know. And I knew one day I would meet you. I didn't know where it would be or when. And I just felt this was the time. I got this event happening tonight. You should come by. You should bring your flute. So I'm game, and because he said it's an Alice Coltrane event. And so I was like, oh, nice. All right. And the crazy thing, I was listening to Alice that whole week before I met him.
Wow.
And so it's like,
isn't it amazing how like
the breadcrumbs,
it all just comes together,
orchestrated how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened like that all my life.
Me too.
It's
amazing.
With Big Boy, with Dungeon, everything has always been.
It just happens
that way. As long as you in a place where you are accepting those things too.
Yeah. Your realtor could have said, well, there's this place in Venice. You're like, no, I'm not looking for Venice.
Yep.
But you were open.
Yep.
It wasn't what you were looking for.
No, but it was what I
needed. But it was
needed.
exactly what you needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it was after that, I went to the event, and Siri Botafacina, keyboard player, he was playing that night with Carlos, and Siri's mom was on stage, and Siri's mom invited me to come up and play. Now, Syria, you know, he was raised on the ashram with Alice, you know, back in the day. So his mom, you know, knew Alice. They were in that world. So she's a harpist. And so she had the instinct to invite me up to play. And at that point, I'd never played with anybody. I've always kind of just been walking around playing.
How many years have you been playing at this point?
Maybe 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and mind you, my flute is tuned to 432 hertz. So I knew, like, I'm not a big music nerd buff, but I knew that 432 was under 440, and most people are playing at 440.
Yeah.
And so when they invited me up, I was like, no, I don't think I'll come. And then I felt like it would have been a spectacle. It's like, oh, Andre 3000 is playing. I know if people want to put their phones up and record me in this place. So I felt that wasn't the place for me to jump on stage and play. Yeah. The whole night, though, as they're playing, I'm in the back, and I'm playing to myself.
Yeah.
While they're playing.
Yeah.
And then after the whole event was over, I stayed to the very end. And then Carlos comes after the event. He was like, yeah, man, if you ever want to get together and jam, man, come to my house. And so we went to Carlos's house, and I had first sessions in his garage studio. And we actually recorded that session, and we're going to put it out, which is it's so interesting to hear the playing from that to New Blue Sun, which is so crazy. But yeah, it's kind of like those breadcrumbs just happened, and we just kept rocking. And I told Carlos, I was like, hey, man, I want to find a way to present this wind playing in a broader way. Because at that point, people had started like filming me at Starbucks or, you know, in the airport, like, oh, he's carrying this flute around. So it was kind of like a Where's Waldo with his flute kind of thing.
Yeah. And
they would always kind of catch me mid-phrase or something. And it was like, oh, man, I wish they would have caught it when it was jamming, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd like to present, you know, this in a broader way to the public. So I'd like to record some type of album. And so Carlos was like, yeah, I mean, I know people, you know, that can make it happen, you know? And so we would try out different things to see what works, different players. And then we ended up landing on the 4 or 5 people that were the core band on the album.
Tell me some of the things you tried along the way before you got to where you wanted it to be. What were some of the experiments leading up to it?
Well, it's always funny, like the idea you have in your mind of who you think you're going to be or the music you're going to be, sometimes is a little off from what it's going to be, which is kind of cool though, because you sometimes get to a greater thing. In my mind, I wanted to do this fully rhythmic kind of like Steve Reichish kind of trance, and it's still possible. It's but at that time I was like this rhythmic kind of really constructed thing that you can blend and mix with other, like you could blend it with beats if you wanted to.
Yeah.
What started to happen was I recorded a few of those and I liked it, but it just wasn't what I thought it would be. And we just started doing a free form, like Carlos Nino, he's been recording in this way for a long time, volumes and volumes of music. So I think me meeting him was a good, kind of like the best place that I could be to open to play, you know, because really the community is, we get together, we have an intention, but not a strong kind of like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. It's an intention just to make music.
Yeah, and see
Not knowing
goes.
what it's gonna, like, not calling out keys, not calling nothing.
Yeah.
And we go purely free form, and that's how the album was created. And it gave me a chance to just play. I'm not a great player, you know, but it gave me a chance to express something and find key moments. And we took it out and played. Like, we toured all of last year, fully free form. When we hit the stage, we never knew what it would be, you know, which is an awesome, exciting, scary, powerful place to be on stage when there's people that come to see
How
it.
different was the music from night to night?
Very different, depending on the mood, sometimes depending on the venue, depending on how we feel as a group, as a unit before we go on. Sometimes, like, there was one time where I said, hey, why don't we just start silent completely and just see how long we can be silent? And we held it for a long time, and we just felt it and go. And it was something powerful in it. And we would end that way sometimes too. But sometimes we were like, let's go 10. So as soon as we go 1, 2, it was everything that you could throw. So it was like, just depending on the venue. Sometimes, like, if you're in a big cavernous space, you know, you want to use the echo, so you play less. You kind of, so you can hear it bounce back. But if you're in a tight space, you know, you kind of play more. We were playing festivals at this point, so, you know, we may go on like 4 Sexual Red or something. Like, so when you're in a festival situation, you play louder because there's nothing bouncing back to you. Which is an odd feeling, but
and the audience
great
isn't
shows,
necessarily there to see you. So it's a different.
Oh yeah, for festivals.
For a festival, it's a different feeling in the crowd.
Oh yeah. It was some real powerful moments, man. We did Tyler's Flognaw, and these were like, you know, these are young kids, man, and they came and, you know, they're saying the best of pop music right now, and then we come out doing this freeform music. Like, they was fucking with it.
That's
were
amazing.
Like, it was. They were like mosh pitting.
Wow.
It was a trip, man. Like,
wow.
Yeah, they were like, because they only gave us 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And so our 30 minutes was up, and they were like, no, we want more. Like, the crowd was like, let's go. So yeah, you had great crowds there. I mean, of course, not all of them are great. So we got some bad write-ups. You know, one writer was like, he didn't even do Hey Ya.
But
we all laughed at that.
Yeah, but you weren't doing music for the critics.
Not at all.
Honestly, weren't really even doing it for the audience. They got to see it.
Yeah, they were kind of went to see. And I would say this, like, you know, it's not really a show, but we thank y'all for coming.
Yeah.
Like, you're jamming. We're channeling. More than just, it's not really a jam either, because there are jam bands. It was more of a conjuring kind of thing. It's not like you just get a groove and you and just go for a long time.
When did you decide, I'm going to make an album?
I can't remember the date, but it was after I played in the garage and me listening to a lot of records. So I would send Carlos kind of like things I'm into. So I would send him like me playing to Indian ragas on the, because Indian ragas are long. So I can just play on top of them, you know, and they usually stay in the same key, which is always good to play with these flutes that are in a key. You know, they're not changing, so it was always good to play. And I would send stuff like that, or I'd send like a playlist of stuff that I'm into, then he would send cool stuff back. So you just got a mind frame of the type of music that I like, but then we threw it all out the window and recorded free, you know. But I think instincts and taste came into play.
I'm sure the listening, even if it was different, informed the direction things went.
Oh, for sure. I hear all the people I love in what I'm playing.
Even if it sounds nothing like it.
Yes, I hear it. And I know, like, I know I'm doing patterns right now. I know, you know, oh, that sounds Coltrane-y, you know. So it's kind of like, you feel it. Yeah.
LMNT, Element Electrolytes. Have you ever felt dehydrated after an intense workout or a long day in the sun? Do you want to maximize your endurance and feel your best? Add Element Electrolytes to your daily routine. Perform better and sleep deeper. Improve your cognitive function. Experience an increase in steady energy with fewer headaches and fewer muscle cramps. Element Electrolytes. Drink it in the sauna. Refreshing flavors include grapefruit, citrus, watermelon, and chocolate salt. Formulated with the perfect balance of sodium, potassium, and magnesium to keep you hydrated and energized throughout the day. These minerals help conduct the electricity that powers your nervous system so you can perform at your very best. Element Electrolytes are sugar-free, keto-friendly, and great tasting. Minerals are the stuff of life. So visit drinklmnt.com/tetra and stay salty with Element Electrolytes. LMNT.
How was the feeling when the album was being released versus your experience of putting out, let's call it popular music in the past, making this more esoteric music now? What was your feeling when you were putting it out?
I was very excited, but one thing, I'm kind of oblivious to the outside world a lot, because one thing I failed to realize after I dropped it, you know, the big thing was, oh man, we wait 17 years and this is what you give us? You know, like, damn. Because for me, I never said, hey, people, wait for this rap album. I never said that, you know? So for me, I was just putting out music. And we did, like, intentionally, we went on a press run to let people know what this was before it came out. So if they didn't get the memo, I'm sorry they didn't get the memo. Like, some people like, man, he didn't rap at all on it. You know, but I said that there was no rapping, so I didn't know what else we could do. You
That's
know?
also not your problem, honestly. It's
No, it's not.
No, you're getting to make the thing you want to make.
No, the job
and
is
you're sharing
done
it.
after we've recorded.
Exactly.
I feel that way. Like, to me, at this point, we just sharing it.
Yeah,
And
100%.
if you like it or not, I'm cool. Like, I'm
it's
totally
okay.
fine with, you know, with critique. I'm fine with people loving it, not liking it, because I don't like everybody. Even people that I love, artists, I don't like all stuff they do.
Of course.
So I'm totally fine with that, man. Like, I just felt like it was a beautiful thing, and I wanted to share it. And I think for the times too, it was really important to share it. And when you're in the street and people tell you for real how they feel about it, that's when you know. You know, and that's what I loved about it. Like, people were coming up, you know, telling us what they were doing with it. Or, yeah, I had this friend that was depressed that wasn't talking to us, and now they're coming, you know, or my friend is on his deathbed, only had 2 weeks to live, and he was listening to this. Like, it was powerful in a whole nother way that I didn't expect. I only knew, oh man, I think this is beautiful and we want to share it. That's all that matters. Yeah.
That's amazing. And now you're free to create anything you want, because now going forward, there won't be any expectation.
I think there'll always be some expectation.
I feel like you're free. I really do.
I know I'm free,
but I think
I feel like I'm free, but to everybody else,
knock the wall down though.
Oh yeah,
with this.
for sure.
It's like, it's a different, you know, like you said, you were a different person than you were when we sat here last.
I totally feel like a different
and
person.
when we sat here last, you were playing flute, but you were not on, I'm making an album. It was not like that.
Nope.
It was like you were finding a way to satisfy yourself making music again.
And I think it should always start that way. Like, I think it should always start from a personal interest and just follow that interest. Like, you never know where it's going to go. Like, when I started rapping, I didn't know I would start producing. I didn't know I'd start making beats. I didn't know I'd start singing. I didn't know I'd start picking up instruments. I didn't know. I'm just following what I'm into, you know, and I think that's, you know, that's my only compass. That's all I got, really. You know, my own interest.
Do you still play flute wherever you go?
That's funny. No, I don't. And it's weird because people expect me to do it now, or it's like almost like a public performance. And so I almost have to like hide away or find little caves or little alleyways to play, because before I just kind of be playing and they'd be like, oh, this nigga playing the flute, But now it's kind of like, it's a thing now, people expect it.
Yeah.
And I don't like it as much for people to be expecting me.
Yeah.
Or, trying to film me do it or,
Yeah. Because now, in a way, you're a professional flute player. As crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, I guess you can say, yeah, I guess if you're getting paid for doing it, it's professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a sonic explorer, man. That's what I am.
How is performing instrumental music on stage different than other kinds of music?
Different, completely different. Even from how we record in the studio to being on stage, because there's another member in the band, and that's the audience.
Yeah.
So we get hoops and hollers, we get people, we got people singing like opera while we're doing it. We got people almost getting into fights while we're doing it. We got people in tears, we got people crying. So it's a whole nother member going on. And I think when you have lights and you have a stage and you have people in front of you, they're expecting you to do a thing. And so I do think it charges you up differently than us just around, jamming. So that was a totally different experience.
Do you get nervous before a show?
Oh, yeah. Always. But I've always kind of, like, even back in the day when we had, like, songs that people knew, there's nerves, which is good. Nerves are good.
How is the reaction in different parts of the world, different countries?
Pretty much across the board, acceptance across the board.
That's so beautiful.
From Japan to Portugal to Australia to London, everywhere they accepted it in the street. And what's crazy is what started to happen, because of the music, we got put on a lot of jazz festival gigs, and so we're playing with the best of the best, like the best of the best players. And what I started to notice is players would come backstage after and like give their honest kind of, it was inspiring because it almost like we charged them up to do something. Like one player, I won't say his name, but it was like, man, I wish I would have been doing this kind of thing 6 months ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I think
you gave them permission to be free.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think what people loved most about it was the freeness.
Yeah.
The freedom, and it's almost like like a rally for it, a rally for freedom.
Cool.
And I think people responded mostly in that way.
Last time we spoke, you said you were judgmental of yourself.
Oh yeah.
Do you still feel the same, or it's better? Same.
It's still the same. It's still the same, but I think I understand more when I'm doing it, and I just try to move past the moment, breathe, take a deep breath, relax my shoulders and move past the moment, man. I mean, I don't think it's bad to be judgmental in certain ways, because I think judging things is part of our survival. Like, even when you walk, you judge how far you're gonna step. And you have to assess what's going on. We have brains to assess. So I think there's nothing wrong with it until it gets to a negative place, And I think you just gotta pay attention, because sometimes you need it. Sometimes you like, if there's a threat around you, like, you done been on some street corners and you like, okay, something don't feel right. That's because and that's all a part of it. You are analyzing, assessing every moment of what's happening. When you're doing it to yourself, sometimes maybe it is something you should look at, but sometimes it's bullshit,
When you're playing in an improvisational way, which you do, how much of it is playing versus listening?
It's kind of, I wouldn't even say 50-50, maybe 70 listening.
Yeah.
Because you kind of gotta, once again, you're assessing what's happening, to feel where are you gonna sit? How do you enhance this moment? Or how do you sit back? How do you not say anything?
Yeah.
So you have to listen. And because I'm not a trained musician, if you see the performance that I have this blanket down on the floor and I have maybe 30 flutes. And because I don't know keys, I don't know, like, I'm not trained in that way, sometimes you'll see me down on the floor auditioning them in a way.
To see what's going to sound good?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so if Siri is playing a thing, or if the Anthony is playing a thing, that has note. I kind of play this. Oh, nah, that don't sound good. Take this one up. Yeah, this is the one. And you go in, you know, so it's kind of like you're listening the whole time. And it's harder for me because I didn't go to music school to know, oh, they're in the key of blah, 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 you know. So it's all
feel.
It's all feel, ear, and physicality to me. Like a lot of times I play, sometimes I watch some of my favorite guitar players, like they're physical. That makes a certain sound. And so I try to play in that way. The way you move your fingers rhythmically, I'm almost trying to wrangle something or will something to happen.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of times I look at it like it's not jazz what I'm doing. It's almost like impressions. Like if you were looking at art and you're looking at figurative art and it's where you see an actual thing, a body or whatever. It's almost like I'm doing an abstract version of it, like just an impression of something. You know, so the notes will be right or wrong sometimes, but you're gonna feel it. And it's gonna create something that creates feeling, you know?
Yeah.
So I look at it in that way.
It sounds pure in that way. Like it, in some ways, the lack of understanding gets you to a pure place of feeling because there's no math involved.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It really is, you are with this thing that's happening and it's real and it's in this moment.
Yep.
That moment will likely not happen again.
It won't. There's no, even if we tried, there's no way. When we first started touring, because we created the album Freeform, when we first started touring, we would try to play the numbers
the
in a
songs
way,
from the album.
Because now I know some of the melodies, I can kind of go back to them. That was okay for a while, but if it felt restrictive in a way, because to me, I mean, we rocked it, but it felt restrictive because it was almost like I was trying to do a thing, which is different from just doing a thing. You know what I mean? And like the wheels are off when you're just doing a thing. So we moved quickly into every show just being free form, just like we made the album. It was just more authentic. And sometimes we may go back to one number, you know, but it would be a crazy rendition of that song. It wasn't like, you know, even like a jazz band, they'll do a version of their song. It's pretty much the same, but of course they're stretching it out in a certain way. Yeah, this would be an impression of an impression of an impression.
Yeah. How many shows did you do about?
A running joke, we did like 100, 120.
Yeah. Would you say over the course of those shows, you got better at doing it?
I got better at not knowing what I'm doing. I got more confidence and having confidence that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know,
And liking the results.
Yes. There were times we would like get off stage and man, we would just hug up and be like, man, I don't know what just happened, but that shit was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't get
Isn't
it
that
back.
the best?
That's what I'm saying. So here's the thing, like I've made music all my life since I was like 17. I've made songs, I've written choruses, I've made beats like that people know when I go out to do it. And there's a great reward when the whole crowd is singing your verse or the whole crowd is singing the chorus. There's a whole nother reward when you don't know what's about to happen. And sun shines in, and it's like, and so we're all witnessing it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother type of reward.
Well, you're participating together in a miracle.
Yes.
Is the difference.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost like 5 people on one tightrope.
Yeah.
That's
and
what
it's
it's
just
like.
happening.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're falling off, but you don't fall off. And it's like,
even if you fall off, like somebody may throw an arm out and you dangling for a while, then they pull you back up, and just the pull up is beautiful to see. Whoa. You know, so it's all. Yeah, I can't explain it, man. I'm so happy that I was put in a position to be able to do it in this way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you imagine doing another album in this direction?
Oh man, we have so much music.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Good.
Like, so here's the thing, we record everything.
Good.
Even like our sound checks.
Yeah.
Oh man, sometimes our sound checks were crazy in just the sound check.
Yeah.
And so we record sound checks, we record every performance.
Great.
But then even before we hit the road, we almost recorded a whole 2 albums before we even put out New Blue Sun.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of music coming. I think my eyes right now are set on scoring film
Nice.
with it, because it is something filmic about it. There's something orchestral even though we may not be playing orchestral instruments, we could totally score a movie live or someone write a movie to our pieces,
Yeah.
you know? And so I'm putting that out there,
Yeah.
that it'll happen.
When you hear the pieces, does imagery come up for you? Do you
Oh, yeah.
see things when you're listening?
It depends on where I am at the moment, not necessarily where this made me think of a thing, but if I'm already in a zone, it can bring up thoughts.
Tell me about the image on the cover of the album.
Okay, so when we were talking about Venice, we were talking about that little house. That was a still from the film called Moving Day. And I was just in my backyard with my flute. Dexter Navy, director, I met him at a juice bar. And Dexter was like, hey man, I want to just come film you, do something. And we happened to be moving this one day, the last day in this little house. And so I was like, Dexter, come through, you know, with your cameras or whatever, we'll shoot something. Dexter came through and we walked around Venice a little bit, walked around the house and went in the backyard, and he was filming me. And that was just a still from me being in the backyard playing flute. So that's the album cover image.
Cool.
But it's great. Like, honestly, flute playing,
Yeah.
like when you talk about like Michael Jordan's of a thing, like my hero
Yeah.
is an Indian flute player, Chaurasia.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Let's listen to something.
Yeah, so this is a duet performance between Shiv Kumar Sharma and Hari Prasad Chaurasia. And sometimes, like, I'll sit on YouTube and I'll just watch this, because they've recorded this performance live. It's so beautiful to watch. And he's the best to me. Like, oh man, let me just shut up.
Yeah.
Play this shit. Yeah, the whole album is called The Valley Recalls.
What is
Is it-
that string instrument that sounds so plucky?
It's
Is it played with mallets?
it's almost like it's like a zither.
Mm.
Yeah, like a zither type of instrument, and it's played with like these little wooden sticks. And to get a long note, you just let it bounce for like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So percussive.
Yeah, it is.
Wildly
It is.
percussive.
Yeah.
Do you listen to a lot of instrumental music?
Yeah, more so now than ever, I think, because it gives you space for like your own thoughts, you know, because sometimes you can just kind of get so caught up in the lyrics. Sometimes they're great lyrics,
Yeah.
but some like instrumental music, it's like just mood score, like score for whatever you going through, you know, and I really dig that a lot.
How do you describe the energy you feel in music?
When I was heavy into religion, I felt it was religious in a way. I remember times when I first started producing, I'd be in my studio and I just finish a beat and I'm by myself. So I'm like in the studio, like in my drawers, you know, playing a beat, and it'll be so moving to me. I remember standing up on a chair and just like, like
Yeah.
standing up on the chair, like feeling like there's a God or there's something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because it's an energy in it.
It wasn't that you were great. It's that it was great.
Yeah, that there's something move, because I know I'm just kind of dealing with things, you know, moving them around, and
Yeah.
because there's energy in it, and it's infectious too. I remember there's times when we were mixing The Love Below, the mix engineer Neil Pogue, we were both at the mixing board finishing up a mix, doing something. We were listening back to a song, and I remember both of us just sitting there at the board in tears, like as we're mixing this fucking song, and I'm like, whoa, something is happening, you know. And it's that powerful, like, and that's what I'm going for. Like I always I'm trying to go for the feel. Like what does it make you feel? I think I was a really emotional kid too, so when I heard music as a child, like those were and it hit me in a way that got me emotional, even from someone else's story. Like even I remember when I first heard Fast Car from Tracy Chapman, there's a line where she says she had to drop out of school to take care of her drunk dad. And I remember as a kid, like, whoa, and I felt it, like,
Yeah.
she's storytelling,
Heavy.
you know, like,
Heavy.
and then the story comes around, you know, her mom left because her dad wasn't living up to what she thought it would be. She wanted more than life than he could give, you know. But she's like, I'm the daughter, so somebody's got to take care of him. Oh, that's what it was. So somebody's got to take care of him. So I quit school. That's what I did. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And that hit me so hard. I was like, oh, so you can tell like real emotion. Like you can tell stuff that's happening in this music. And I've always strived to get some realness, you know.
Do you
Because
think?
I want people to feel it the same way I felt it.
Do you feel like there's something about the music that's biographical?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, biographical and mirror-like to other people, you know. Like especially as a rapper, I always respected it when I felt like I was hearing something from a rapper that was them. That's one thing I always respected about rap music and punk music and rock and roll. Like there was a certain rawness that I liked, that I always responded to. That kind of slice of real life, no matter how good or bad it is powerful.
In a world of artificial highs and harsh stimulants, there is something different, something clean, something precise. Athletic nicotine. Not the primitive products found behind convenience store counters. Not the aggressive buzz that leaves you jittery, but a careful calibration of clean energy and focused clarity. Athletic nicotine. The lowest dose tobacco-free nicotine available. Made entirely in the USA. No artificial sweeteners, just pure, purposeful elevation. Athletic nicotine is a performance nootropic. Athletic nicotine is a tool for shifting mindsets. Athletic nicotine is a partner in pursuit of excellence. Slow release, low dose, gradual lift. sustained energy, soft landing, inspired results. Athletic Nicotine, more focus, less static. Athletic Nicotine, more clarity, less noise. Athletic Nicotine, more accuracy, less anxiety. Athletic Nicotine, from top athletes pushing their limits to artists pursuing their vision. Athletic Nicotine offers the lift you've been looking for. Learn more at athleticnicotine.com/tetra and experience next level performance with Athletic Nicotine.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Tell me about your spiritual life.
I don't have much of a spiritual life, to be honest. When I was younger, I did. I was heavy, heavy into the church. I think I was just raised that way. Yeah, I'm not so much now.
Where did the song titles come from?
Some were just thoughts I had laying around. Some were me trying to almost try to break up the expectation of this type of music. I think a lot of people feel like, if you play flute or, you're into this type of world, like that you're not a full human, that you may not curse, that you may not have sex or, so I'm trying to like bring some humanness to it too. So in the titles, it was almost like I was trying to even it out in a way.
Yeah.
Because I knew people would take it in a heavy way. So I was trying to sometimes be comical with the titles, sometimes express things because I knew there was no lyrics. So that was the only place I had to.
You could say anything.
Yep. When we would do these free-form recordings, we were recording so fast that sometimes we were just naming them places. And even the first song used to be called Beyond the Pharaohs. And that's because as soon as we finished playing it and went into the control room to listen, I was like, man, I can't wait till Pharoah Sanders hears this.
Yeah.
And he ended up passing away before the album could come out. Yeah, like sometimes the songs are just quick thoughts.
Yeah.
One song used to be called All Occasions. All Occasions ended up being the slang word pussy. But when we first played it and listened back to it, it's like, man, you can do anything. So this song works for all occasions. You can be at a romantic moment or, So, sometimes it's just a quick kind of placer, but I felt like I knew people would read the title. So that was the only place that I had to say something,
How do you think breath instruments are different than other instruments?
The reason why I was attracted to breath instruments is because it's the only instrument besides the human voice where you're actually hearing the human. With a piano, your finger hits a key hits a hammer hits a string, then you hear the sound. Guitar, your pick hits the string or your finger hits the string, reverberates. So it's something in between the human. With flute playing and wind, you're actually hearing the wind of a human.
And if you stop blowing, the sound stops.
Yep.
Whereas you can hit a guitar chord, it'll keep ringing after you've hit it.
Yep. So you're hearing the breath of life in an instrument. It's the closest thing to singing, That's why, like, when we were just listening to Teresa, like, to me, he plays like Indian singing. Like, they're so skillful with how they go in between notes and even like, I'm doing a horrible job of it, but he plays in that way, like the way they practice singing, and I think it's dope when you can mimic that. And even like, you think of like saxophone and vibrato is to mimic a singer, like that was to kind of mimic what singing. And a lot of saxophone players early on, they were kind of playing in a style of the crooners, so they're already mimicking human voice. With the flute, you're actually hearing that wind.
Tell me about going around the world, going to antique stores, going to music stores, finding old instruments. Tell me about some of the characters you've come across.
Well, there's one favorite store that we go to in the Bay. It's called Lark in the Morning. It's like this odd instrument store that has all these kind of odd instruments. And we're always so excited when we go to the Bay, because like, all right, we're going to Lark in the Morning today. We'll all get in the van and go check out what they have new, because they just got instruments from all over the world, some instruments in there are made by musicians that are just trying to make new instruments. So there's actually kind of like a mallet instrument that's kind of like a xylophone that I play on stage that I bought from there. It's kind of like this xylophone that's in a key. So there are no bad notes on it. You know, it's almost kind of like a pan drum in a way, but I get flutes all the time at shows. People will come and hand me some of their handmade flutes. Yeah, at this point I have so many flutes, whistles, and shakers. Yeah, I get a lot of instruments. Yeah.
I just remember anytime I would go to any like collectors of anything, they were always the most interesting people.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Well, we go to a lot of flea markets, and a lot of
Yeah.
people there are very interested because they just sit and collect things, and they're experts at it, and they'll tell you about it. You know, and it's just good to hear their stories.
Yeah. How does the place you're in impact the playing?
A lot, especially the actual room, the environment.
Sonically or what you see?
Both. Sometimes it's just the energy of a crowd can make you play away. Like, or sometimes like I may have been agitated at something, and I'll play like an angry bird. Yeah, like not the game, but I'll play like, just kind of trying to play through it in a certain way because there's some staleness happening in the room, and you know you're trying to shake it up.
What are some of your favorite places on the planet?
Japan, of course. Japan is one of my favorite places.
Tokyo or Kyoto or other parts?
Kyoto, I love Tokyo as well. Osaka. You have been to the art islands? Oh man, you got to check it out. Kind of get on this barge and go out to this island that they dedicated just for artists. Like, so there's museums there.
That sounds great.
No, you got to check it out.
I will.
Amsterdam is a new favorite place. I like Amsterdam a lot. There's something about the art and fashion there that's killer to me. Mexico City, I like. Hawaii, I like. Florence was one of my favorite places. Back in 2008 when I was working on Benjamin Bixby, the clothing line, I spent a lot of time in Florence and Hong Kong. And actually I like Hong Kong as well. But yeah, Florence, man, like the colors, the food, like I was amazed. Like they'll have like you may just see a door open and you'll see people going in, and you'll walk in and it'll be a restaurant, but they won't have like a menu.
No sign or anything.
Yeah, no sign, no menu. This is what we're making today.
Yeah.
And if you want some, cool.
Yeah.
And you go in, it's the best food you ever had. Like, but it's free, man. I love it. Yeah. No, it's not, the food is not free. You got to pay for it. But I'm saying it's a free way of thinking, like saying, well, this is what we're offering today.
Yeah. It's like going to someone's house for dinner, really.
Exactly.
I love Florence. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's the only city I could ever imagine living in. I don't like cities.
Yeah.
But I like Florence.
Okay. All right. That's a good way to think.
Yeah. Tell me about music that comes from plants.
Carlos Nino, sometimes, like, depending on the city, he always likes to go and grab a fallen branch from wherever we are, of leaves or something. And so in his arsenal, he just has like just stuff, you know? And so plants are actually on the record. So they're just different plants, and depending on what region we're in, you know, he'll go out and find it and he'll bring it in and shake on it, and it'll be awesome.
Before you started the album, did you make any rules about what you would and wouldn't use or do? Were there any like, we're not going to use any of these kind of instruments or only this parameter?
That's funny because when we first started, like the only like rule, not even a rule, it's only intention was I want to transport people from wherever they are. And everybody was, oh yeah, we got that. That's easy, you know. But one thing we quickly found, even though I love saxophone, I quickly found that as soon as I hear a saxophone, it pulls me to jazz.
Yeah.
And so we made the decision because we recorded some great songs with saxophone on them for some of the sessions for this album, but I didn't necessarily want it to sit in the jazz mode. I wanted to be more experimental. And so at a certain point, I was like, Los, man, Man, yeah, I don't know if I want any saxophone.
That's a real specific choice.
Yeah.
Because it really does change it.
Yeah,
because
it makes it a
saxophone
thing.
does say jazz.
Depending on how you play it, you
It's
know.
true. Unless it doesn't sound like saxophone, which is
Right.
possible.
Right. Yeah. And I love jazz, but it's kind of like I think for what we were going for, I didn't want it to sit in the jazz band, even though there are jazz fans that come to what we're doing.
But it makes it too on the nose. It's like too strong a label to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a limitation.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked in any physical media, paint, ceramics, anything like that?
Oh, for sure, all of them. Actually, before even rapping, as a child, since I was a very little child, I always would draw and paint, make things, build things, and even now, as I get older, I'd see me doing it more. Yeah, even for like during the Outkast times, I would draw things on the CD. And since I've been living in Cali, I started going to Cal State and doing ceramics at Cal State. So there are sculptures that I've done that you'll see at some point. Painting is huge for me right now. I draw, I keep a sketchbook with me. I draw all the time because to me, it's the best way to pitch an idea or tell you something, because sometimes like words, the interpretation is just too vast. So if I can show you a picture or a drawing of what I'm talking about, your brain connects to it easier than me saying it. Because like if I say, yeah, man, I want this cool shirt. Cool can mean a lot of things, and shirt can mean a lot of things to different things, to different.
But
if I draw it,
yeah.
your brain is right there, at least closest to what I'm saying. Yeah.
How'd you get the name 3000?
3000 came around 1999, right during the Y2K scare.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, let's think ahead. So 3000 is the year 3000. We're going to 2000.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, 3000. So it was like Andre 3000. And then it just became kind of like an adjective or like a moniker. So if I was in the studio and I'm in the control room working on some like a beat or some music, and my homies would pop their head in, depending on what type of music I was making, they'll say, if it was out there, they'd be like, oh, that's that 3000 shit. You know what I mean? And then they'll close the door and then go back out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it was wild or like pushing it, you know, that was that 3000. So it became like an adjective for like next.
Yeah.
You know, pushing it.
I would say the Flute album is 3000.
Oh man, I hope. It's funny you say that too, because I was wondering, should I even call it Andre 3000?
Yeah. I understand that.
Because now in retrospect, and I think I'm happy about the decision, because in retrospect I was like, well, if we just called it just the New Blue Sun Band.
Yeah, name of a project.
Yeah, and that was just it.
Yeah.
I think it would have had a different life.
I think so too.
And I think what was important was the trajectory of this person from where I'm from to doing what I'm doing. I think that's all a part of the journey, all a part of the music. So I'm glad it was an Andre 3000 album.
Me too.
At the end, you know.
Me too.
Because it actually turned a lot of people onto it. And with crazy thing, like I had like T.I., had G's and them coming to the shows. Like I was just happy that people were coming to check it out in a way that probably wouldn't have never checked out.
Yeah.
This kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good bridge. I love bridges, you know. I love things that connect things. So I think Outkast was a nice bridge for a lot of people. You know?
Can you think of any other artist who was known so specifically for doing something and did something as different as you've done? Successfully. That's another part of it, because you've done it successfully. It's hard, right?
Yeah, I can't really think. And not just music, in anything.
In anything.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
If there is anyone, it's a short list if it exists, but I can't come up with any examples.
Well, my homie Boots from The Coup made music, you know, in the 90s up to 2000s, and then started directing films. The films are awesome, successful. So yeah, that's another major change. Yeah.
ATLiens is a new podcast on the Tetragrammaton network.
Do you know about the connection between Charlie Manson and MK Ultra, the US government's mind control operation? What if everything you thought you knew about the Manson murders was wrong? Join Ayesha Akambi for a once-in-a-lifetime in-depth conversation with Tom O'Neill, author of the runaway bestseller Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. In this limited deep dive series, Tom O'Neill unpacks his 20-year investigation into the CIA's mind control program, linking it to Charles Manson and the disturbing secrets buried in America's history. From missing FBI files to Hollywood cover-ups, government surveillance, LSD, and the dark collapse of the 60s hippie dream. This is the story behind the story. It's not true crime, it's true chaos. Hear it on ATLiens, the new podcast on the Tetragrammaton Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcasts. Truth isn't just stranger than fiction, it's far more dangerous.
Coming soon on the ATLiens podcast.